I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Across the Gridiron. This is the time of the week where we do our predictions for the following week's weekend actions of football. But before, obviously, we dive into any of that, it would be remiss of us not to start this week just having a very quick chat about the tragic news that broke over the course of the week, and that was the untimely death of Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland, who died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound on Thursday at the age of 24. Now, we're not going to go into any detail or talk about any of the events that led up to him taking his own life. What we want to try and do in this bit is talk a little bit about the football player and what he meant to the Dallas Cowboys and what he meant to Dallas Cowboys fans. And obviously, Eddie, who is obviously you're with me as always, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I know this news hit you particularly hard. So I think it'll be a really good place to start to just tell me how you took the news or how you heard about the news and just what he meant to you as a player and as a fan.
Yeah, welcome everyone, and Matt. Yeah, it's been a very difficult couple of hours with this, because every now and then you get to reflect how football, so much of it is about stats, so much of it is about almost seeing the people that play the game as not particularly human beings, because we get angry, we get passionate, we get all upset, about what our teams are doing or what people are doing, within the team. But every so often, all of that gets stripped away. And then we all have to examine our humanity and examine, who we are. And for me as a Cowboy fan, when you see a news like that, because I first saw it on social media, and I'm thinking to myself, no, that can't be true, because you see this sort of, this, and then the internet is such a cruel place now. People put in hoaxes, all kinds of things. So you're just kind of thinking, okay, there must be some mistake here. Surely, there was no recollection about anything about him. He was not a player that got into trouble or anything like that. So it was just so many questions, in my head. I just had so many questions. And especially when they have an announcement and they don't put in, what happened. So you just kind of, just makes you think a little bit more. I think everyone probably saw the Cowboys game on Monday against the Cardinals. And, as a team, the Cowboys have been going through a difficult patch, and particularly the defense have been going through you could say a difficult patch. You could say a really, really awful patch. The defense has been very bad. And, defensive plays have not been something that's been very, very popular this season with the Cowboys. There's not been a lot of those. But particularly on Monday, there was a play that seemed to put energy back in the team, and a lot of us Cowboy fans thought that was going to be the spark, to the comeback. It didn't turn out that way, but that particular play was a blocked field punt, which then hit one of the guys in the face mask and was then recovered for a touchdown. And the person that recovered that ball in the end zone was Marshawn Kneeland. And you could see, I've watched that play now over 100 times since yesterday, and you could just see the joy and elation, scoring the touchdown, how his teammates rallied towards him, and that was such a high. These are the things that we watch football for. We watch football for all of that. And that was such a high. And then only the next few days later to hear such a tragic news is just, Very, very difficult. And, Dak Prescott, who's also had personal tragedies, as well in his life. I was listening to him, and he was saying that this is not a pain that he wishes on anybody.
No.
Having personally, been through a situation like that where he lost someone in a similar circumstances, very, very close to him. He's probably more than anyone in that locker room, equipped to be able to figure out things. But even he was like, I just don't even have the words, to say at this point in time, because he was only 24. And, when he was picked, the Dallas Cowboys, 2 drafts ago, we were all sort of like, kind of thinking, because, the Cowboys have always been, we want that player to come in and, just help us, right? From a defensive point of view. And early on in the season, he was a little bit injured. So we didn't really get to see him play, but in the last couple of games, he's been all about effort. He's been all about, showing up in every play. You go back and you look at the Cowboys plays and you see him making an effort. And of course, we know how bad they've been. But, his teammates, everyone just talked about how much he was showing up in practice, every single day, on the field, showing up, playing his heart out. And it's just so heartbreaking, just really, really heartbreaking. I have to say that, this one really hit hard, because when you've kind of watched him, I remember when he got drafted. And we do this thing on our show, where we kind of like go through the draft and we talk about what happens in the draft. We try and create content and compelling stories from that. But a draft sometimes, it's almost sometimes the last time where you almost see those players as human, because you see their family, you see the excitement of them, reaching their goal, reaching their dream, something they've been fighting for a long time, to play in the National Football League. And then their names get called by the commissioner, to be like, you're being drafted to this team. And you can just see what it means, for everyone around them, and we always forget that, because once they get into the NFL, it's all about, MVP, who's doing this and who's doing that. But you almost forget that human side, and I remember one of his first interviews, he was saying, he was talking about, he's coming to the team now and his aspiration is Super Bowl, is, getting to a Super Bowl, and all of that. And, it's like, oh, I've let it out there, might as well, start to live up to that. So you think about all of this, expectations, and yeah, this one's gonna take a little bit of time just to like, process and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's we don't often see, we don't obviously, fortunately, we don't regularly see active players losing their lives. These days, the last active player to die over the course of a season was back in 2018 when Colts linebacker Edwin Jackson was killed in a car accident, or being struck by a car. So fortunately, it's not something we see regularly. And I think given the guy's age, given his potential, and I think given how he died, and I said we're not going to speculate on the events that led up to it, or why he did what he did. Obviously, there was obviously, he obviously had a few emotional problems. I know he lost his mum not long before he was drafted to the Cowboys. And it's, as you said, it's really sad. A couple of days ago, he scored his first ever touchdown for the Cowboys, right? His first ever career touchdown, and the week's not even out, and we're talking about him taking his own life. So it's absolutely tragic, and I'm sure over the course of the next couple weeks, few months, when more news comes out about it, I'm sure we'll discuss this more. But I think we just wanted to take the opportunity just to mention it, pass on our condolences to the family, his his friends, his girlfriend, who are going through this very sort of difficult time. But we and ahed about whether we still go and do our predictions episode, because this is generally the more sort of jovial our podcast that we do. Not that anything we do is particularly serious, but we decided we still want to press on, go ahead and do it. So we'll just take a second, and we're going to launch straight into our predictions for week 10. I think that's probably the right thing to do. Would you say, Eddie?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that.
Well, let's jump into it. And while we do this, I'm going to actually fix my camera, because I've realised I don't have the right camera on, which is a great start. I've realised halfway through. So this is, you can tell how super professional we are. In fact, I can't even do it while we're doing it. So I apologise for the bad camera. But let's just go straight back into it, and let's look at how we did in week 9, as always. So Eddie, while I get this set up, how do you think you did? Do you think you finally caught up with me?
Yeah, I feel like this week was a good week. I don't know why. I just have this feeling like that it was a good week.
Okay, let's shall we see if this week was indeed a good week for you? So Vikings at the Lions. We both caught the Lions for this one. We talked about it in our review show, and we said, is it a shock? Isn't it a shock? Well, it clearly was, because the Vikings won, and we both went against that. So neither of us got that one.
Yeah.
We both went for the 49ers over the Giants. So that's a tick for both of us. We both went for the Patriots over the Falcons, and that was just the correct one.
That was pending in the wrong way.
Yes. We both went for the Colts over the Steelers, because I decided to listen to you and said that there's no way the Steelers can beat the Colts. And obviously we both got that wrong. But Eddie, you said never bet against the Chiefs. I bet against the Chiefs. And once again, I take this week 3-2. So you thought you had a good week, and you got 3 wrong.
You suckered me into this one, because I remember I was leaning towards the Bills in this prediction, and I was saying that I was gonna go for the Bills, but I wanted to put that make that different. I should have stuck to my guns.
Oh, don't you go blaming anyone but yourself there, Eddie. And so where does that take us? I am now, after the end of week 9, 7 games up, Eddie. 7.
It is 7.
I am a touchdown up.
You're a touchdown up. There's something wrong with this picture, this calculation, right?
No, I think it's absolutely fine. I mean, if you want further proof, we've got the future proof. We're seeing how it goes week on week. We're seeing how just that gap's just getting bigger week on week, Eddie. You're going to have to turn it around. I can go 5-0 and still be absolutely fine. So I am under no pressure now. So I am happy.
It's all on me now. Pressure is on.
Absolutely. Well, in that case, let's got to swap our faces around. We don't like it that way around. Yeah. Right. In that case, let's get into week 10. So again, just to confirm, Eddie, you pick these games. You choose these games. You often get first shout at all of these games, yet you are still.
I feel like that's going to become a T-shirt. You pick these games.
You pick. I think we have quite a lot of potential T-shirts, don't we? Never bet against the Chiefs being one. You pick these games. Pulling into Cowboys corner and the Dolphins deep end. But anyway, but yeah, I'm sure we'll do T-shirts for people to buy in there, for all our millions of fans across the globe. But let's get into week 10 then. So let's look at our picks, and let's start with the next international game. Now, this is an international game, Eddie, that you're actually not going to, which is quite surprisingly. I'm surprised at you.
It's in Germany.
I know you would still probably go if you could, though. But it's the Colts against the Falcons. Now, obviously, this international game is in Germany.
Yeah,
Colts are obviously reeling after only their second defeat of the season. Falcons have been hit and miss, I think it's fair to say, this season. If if we say that politely. But
Mm.
as always, I'll let you have first crack. Where do you see this one going?
Yeah, listen, I don't think the Colts are gonna give 6 away, right? 6. That's what they gave away in their last game. If they go do that in a foreign country, I don't know what to tell you. I think you can do it in your own backyard, but to go and give 6 away in a foreign country, I mean, but hey, we're gonna talk about what Sauce Gardner is gonna do for them, right? I think clearly that's gonna shore up their defense. Which is quite ironic that he plays cornerback and they're traveling to another country. So there's all these puns about them being travel proof, and with Sauce Gardner, and people can't fly around them and all of that, which just adds to the conversation. I think the Colts will be trying to prove that was a blip, that was a one-off, and the NFL is hard enough. Right. I don't think there's anyone that is expecting to go undefeated right now at any point in time in the season, or any season at all. It's just hard to do, to go undefeated. So it's a lot of credit to, teams like the Patriots and your Dolphins as well, who've done that in the past. So I'm going to go for the Colts to win this game in Germany. I think they've got more firepower than the Falcons, so it's probably going to be a 10-point game, I would say, this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also going for the Colts. I mean, I think that it's an expression that we've used, and I've said before, I hate this expression, but I'm still going to use it because every bugger seems to use it. But it's a get right game, and I think, yeah, they had a bad loss. Turned over the ball far too much. Daniel, Danny J played more like New York Danny J than Indianapolis. But they're playing against a pretty poor Falcons team who are in no sorts of form whatsoever. I think the Falcons have lost their last 3 games. I think, sit second bottom in the NFC South. Only one play. Yeah, the only thing that's stopping them being bottom is the Saints. So the Colts, this is a game. Yeah, they've had a bad game. They didn't turn up against the Steelers, whose defense came out with a point to prove. I think the Colts should use this opportunity. If they lose this game, then I think we can start asking some questions. But I'm like you. I'm going with the Colts for this one. Okay, let's move on. Let's move over to New York, which is this would be quite an interesting game, I think, for a number of different reasons. But it's not. It wouldn't what I necessarily call top billing, but we've got the New York Giants against the Chicago Bears. Giants obviously have been in poor form, I suppose, since they had that initial uptick when Jackson Dart came in at quarterback, and they've been inconsistent, as you'd expect from maybe a team led by a rookie quarterback. Yeah. Where the Bears again have been inconsistent, but Caleb Williams shows some incredible ability in certain plays. He has great days and he has not so good days. Again, probably what you'd expect from a second-year quarterback in a not particularly great team. But yeah, where do you see this one going?
So, Jackson Dart hasn't necessarily been playing that bad.
Oh, no, I'm not saying he's been playing bad. It's just up and down, isn't he?
Yeah, he hasn't necessarily been playing that bad. And, the Bears are going to be feeling a lot of pressure in that division, because they'll be thinking to themselves, we are a team that could potentially do something, right? And they've won a couple of games. That's probably giving them a bit more. And Ben Johnson is clearly a good coach, right? I think it's probably less to do with the fact that Caleb Williams is a superstar quarterback than the coach just simplifying things and making sure that his quarterback wins more than he loses. And their defense has been improving. They've been taking the ball away a lot. So the reason why I put this game is that this game is generally very, very hard to call. The Giants are typically good in the first half and terrible in the second half. Ask the Denver Broncos, who came back from, I think it was 19 points, to win that game against the Giants. They've always kept losing games. And I just think that this game might be one that they get right. And I don't know why, I just feel that way. And this is a division, opponent that I shouldn't be backing. But I think this will be a very close one, a very close game that could potentially be decided by 3 points. Whoever goes for it in the fourth quarter and gets it potentially wins this game. So and they both like to go for it or fourth down. So I'm gonna go with the Giants to steal one from the Bears because it will be a steal. I don't think they would go and they're very similar teams, I would say, in terms of performance and maybe you could say talent and roster. But they will steal one. Where is this game actually? Is it in New York?
No, it's in. Well, actually, where? It's a good point. Where is it? But no, it's in Chicago.
It's in Chicago. Yeah.
Yes, it's at Soldier Field. Yeah.
Soldier Field. Yeah.
I'm
gonna go with the Giants on this one.
So I'm just going to change it. So I turn it around. So you've got Giants at Bears. Okay, well that's good because I'm going for Chicago. Because I mean, look, the Giants. I agree that I agree with your assumption that it's going to be a tight game. It's probably going to be at 3 points or one score in it. However, the Giants have lost 3 on the bounce.
Yeah,
they are 0-5 away from home.
Yeah,
and I think that that the Cowboy season is done, right? I think if we just look, this is a time now where we're looking at the standings. The NFC East, I mean, they're not far from they're only 1 game away from maybe taking second place if the Cowboys and the Commanders obviously lose, because you guys are on 3 wins, Commanders are on 3 wins, the Giants are only on 2, but they're not going to catch the Eagles. They're not going to have a swing enough to get to playoffs. So the Giants season is effectively over. The Bears, on the other hand, although they sit 3rd in the NFC North, we said on earlier the week, how tight is the NFC North?
Yeah.
They are 3rd on 5-3. The Lions are on 5-3. The Packers are on 5-2-1, and the Packers 5-2-1, and the Vikings, who are bottom, are on 4-4. So the Bears are still well within that playoff shout, right? They have to go. If they are serious contenders for either trying to sneak into a playoff place, they have to be beating teams like the New York Giants at home, right? Would I put my mortgage on it? Absolutely not, because they're too inconsistent to do that. But I think home field advantage against a Giants team in an improving, but a Giants team in sort of a transition period, who have lost all 5 away from home. I'm going for the Bears.
Yeah, 1 second. I think the missus is trying.
We're going to take a brief second now while my co-host answers the phone to his wife. We always talk about professionalism here. So I think we're going to, let's see. Is he coming back online now? Right. Yeah. So we have a decision to make now, Eddie. Do we keep that in or do we edit all of that out?
I don't know. We should. I mean, was I on mute? Could you hear me?
No, you were on mute. I was just saying, well, this is very professional, isn't it?
Okay, well, let's keep it in.
Okay. Okay. Well, we might keep it in for the bants, and only because I can't be asked to edit it out. But let's move on to our next. So I'm putting the Bears, you're putting the Giants. Fair enough. Let's move on to our next one, which is the Patriots at Tampa. So I think this is one of the games of the weekend, because you've got Patriots who are on an absolute tear at the moment, a fantastic run of form, but the Buccaneers have been my dark horse out for the NFC all season. So, and again, I'll let you go first. Where do you call this one?
Hmm. This is generally a hard. These are two teams that are in the New England Patriots. Right now, as we all stand, if the season ended today, they will be the number 2 seed in the AFC. And the Bucks, if the season ended today, will be the number 2 seed in the NFC. So
Yep.
which is really, so you're talking about two good teams. Now there's always this thing about, NFC teams don't tend to do well against AFC teams. I don't know why, for some strange, reason. But this is a generally very, very difficult game to call. I do like what the Patriots are doing. They look to me like a team that have figured out the identity. Vrabel has figured out what he wants to do with the team, and they don't make a lot of mistakes and things like that. So, and then the Bucks have been on a bye, right? So they're just coming back from a bye. They'll be well rested. And I remember back when Tom Brady went to the Bucks, they went on a bye, came back, and they won all their games and went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. Now Tom Brady is not the quarterback there. So this is hard, but I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'm gonna go with the Bucks just because of Baker Mayfield's 4-quarter comebacks. He's done that a few this season, and I just feel like if the game's close, Baker Mayfield can wheel the Bucks over the line. He's done it a few times. He's got the experience, got the T-shirt. So I'm going to go with the Bucks on this one.
Yeah, I am umming and ahhing about this one. This is one of the games where I kind of wish I looked at who you were predicting like early this week when he said it to me, rather than looking at it now and trying to make a decision, to try and make a decision rather than going off the cuff, which is what I normally do, because it's working for me at the moment. Doing little research actually really makes a difference. I'm going to go for the Patriots, only because as a Dolphins fan, you know that bloody Patriots, you can never bet against them, can't you? Yeah. And it's just mentally inserted. The Brady era is still inserted here. I mean, look, they're on a 6-game winning streak. Are they one of the best teams in the league? Maybe not, but they're certainly the most informed team in the league. They're absolutely flying. This is going to be a close game. This is a coin toss for me, but I'm in a position where I can gamble, because remember, Eddie, 7 games ahead. So I can gamble. So I'm going to go for the Patriots for this one. It's going to be close. Would not be surprised at all to see the Buccaneers win. I'd actually be quite pleased if they did, but I'm going to go for the Patriots.
Okay.
Let's move over to the next one. Let's try and wrap these. Let's just try and get these ones done pretty quickly so we can try and keep within a relatively straightforward time. Rams at 49ers. Again, tough game to call. Eddie, again, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, it is Rams for me. I don't even know what to talk about this. I think both coaches are very similar, and I was thinking about this. These are the two coaches that probably use, this thing called shifts and motions the most, when they play, and very creative, offensive-minded coaches, Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. But I see the Rams just being a little bit better. Where is this game actually? Is it
Where is it? So was that where is it?
Yeah,
it's in San Fran, yeah. So it's Levi Stadium.
Yeah, why am I going against the home teams?
I don't know, because you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams. I'm gonna go bold. Go with the Rams.
Yeah, I've got the Rams down for this one as well. Obviously, divisional game. Rams are 6-2. 3-game winning streak. The 49ers are only a game behind them, 6-3. But it still doesn't quite feel like the Brock Purdy team yet. I think, is it Mac Jones is still going to be lining up at quarterback this week? Do we think?
Yeah, he's done okay.
I think he's done well.
Yeah, he's done okay, and it kind of makes people think, whether Brock Purdy is all that. You know how I feel about Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to get, if you want to get on my bad side, start putting quarterbacks above, Dak Prescott, and then you can quickly get on my dark side.
Well, we still haven't done that. We still haven't done our countdown of the retro 2025 thing. Then we'll see. Then you'll see how people really feel about Dak Prescott. But yeah, look, I mean, Mac Jones, I think, done a decent standing job, but it's very much Brock Purdy's team. So yeah, I'm going to go for Rams to edge this one. But again, nothing really in this one for me. This will probably be a close game. And let's follow up. Let's finish this week with the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. I mean, Texas. Well, both teams have been inconsistent this season, right? I think. The Jaguars are again another divisional game. Jacksonville 5-3, Texans 3-5. Even though the Jacksonville are ahead and are 2 games up, it would not surprise me if they turn up an absolute stinker of a game and CJ Stroud, comes to the fore. However, saying all that, I'm just going to go for Jacksonville. I think they are I think this season they are a better football team than Houston. So I'm going to stick my neck out and go for the Jaguars. What about yourself?
Yeah, so I mean, that was going to be my pick as well. I was going to go for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I'm trying to claw back points.
Hey, to be fair, we've already got 2 different, Eddie. We've already got 2 different. So you could potentially already bring it back within 2.
I could bring it back into 2. Yeah, so I mean, the Texans, come on. This is just like, it's like they're like win, lose, then win, then lose. They lost to the Denver Broncos, but that's because the Denver Broncos, their defense is that defense. Mm-hmm. Their defense. I don't think the Jacksonville's defense are like that. So do you know what? I'm just gonna take a punt, go with the Texans. Come on, Texans.
Come on, CJ Stroud.
Come on, CJ Stroud, show me that rookie form that you had where people were telling us that you're better than Dak Prescott. Come on, back that up now in this game.
All right. Okay. Well, look, they're locked in. Let's wrap this up before we tick over that 35-minute mark. Eddie, it's been a pleasure as always going through this. Thanks everybody for watching. Obviously, we had that difficult start to the pod. But we've tried to keep going. The NFL is going to keep going. We're going to keep going as well. But for Eddie, for now, my friend, take us home.
Yeah. So week 10 is all just very, very close. And now we start to talk about playoffs, right? I can already say the Cowboys are out of it. So that takes out, the stress for me, early on, so I can just watch the NFL game. And there's a few fans that are probably like me too, who are now watching the NFL game for just the pure excitement and enjoyment that it brings. But I'm sure somewhere Jerry Jones is giving a speech about how the Cowboys will be all right, So, but we'll see. They're on a bye this week, so you know what? I can't have a stressful weekend. So, until the next one, guys, we'll see you across the gridiron.
I'm the bad guy. I'm the